Time now for a look at some business news with France 24's Cole Stangler, who's with me here in the studio. Cole, you're starting out here in France, where COVID relief for business is about to start winding down. Today, the finance minister, Bruno Le Maire, is set to meet with lobbyists of some of the sectors most affected by this health crisis. And they'll be talking about the future of state aid.
Yeah, that's right, Thomas. The message from Le Maire last week was pretty clear. He said the, quote, whatever it costs approach is done to be replaced by what he's called tailor-made relief measures. Among the businesses represented at today's meeting are restaurants, hotels, gyms, and nightclubs. They'll be looking for an extension of certain aid measures. They're set to expire tomorrow at the end of the month. The ministry says exemptions could be granted in some cases. All in all, direct state aid has already topped some 60 billion euros since last March. About half that is taken in the form of what's known as the Solidarity Fund. That's open to firms seeing declines in revenue. The other half, as you can see there, comes through the extension of partial unemployment, essentially the state paying firms to keep workers on staff. Then on top of all that, about 140 billion euros have been doled out as state-backed loans, though presumably that cash is set to return to public coffers.
Well, meanwhile, Cole, the EU is preparing to reintroduce travel restrictions on Americans.
Yeah, today the European Council expected to advise member states to tighten rules and conditions on travel from the U.S., encouraging them to remove the U.S. from the so-called safe list. The move comes with Europe's summer tourist season coming to a close and with a notable success story emerging in Croatia. The country is on pace for a record number of visitors despite the uncertainty over COVID. Catherine Viet reports.
Dubrovnik's beaches are packed as tourists return for the sun and the sea. Tour guides are again escorting groups around the ancient walled city.
When we compare this season to the last one, obviously it's much more better. 2020, it's almost like it never happened. Simply we started late, and obviously the season already has been cut short mid-August, so we are now kind of already enjoying that extended period compared to 2020. So it's much better.
The banner summer season is a boon for Croatia. Tourism accounts for about 20% of the country's GDP. After 18 months of pandemic-related travel restrictions, pent-up demand is outstripping supply for some popular holiday options, and it's caught the tourism industry by surprise. Sailing yacht charter companies say they can't keep up with the demand.
Everybody wants to be on the sea. This is the reason why we have overload, let's say, the seasons. Everybody are looking for a boat, to have a boat, and we have no boats anymore.
The surge in vacationers comes despite the ongoing risk of COVID-19. Over the past month, the weekly average has doubled, and officials are concerned a new wave could be starting. Large signs are posted around town reminding people to take precautions. Still, Croatia is expected to see annual tourism revenue exceed 10.5 billion euros, the record set in 2019 before the pandemic curtailed holiday travel.
Let's take a look now at how markets are faring to kick off the week. Major European indexes all trading around the flat line. The FTSE closed for bank holiday in the UK. Some slight gains on the CAC 40 in Paris and the DAX over in Frankfurt. A better day on the Asian markets, the Nikkei in Tokyo leading the pack there, shares up around 0.5%. Some modest gains, slightly smaller gains, across the board. Oil futures, meanwhile, remaining largely stable. World benchmark Brent crude trading just under $73 a barrel. That's as southern Louisiana reels from Hurricane Ida, the region's extensive energy operations at a standstill. And finally now, cruise ship operator Carnival is the subject of a blistering new lawsuit in California. Brought by some 50 people, the class action case focuses on the Grand Princess cruise line. It alleges the firm failed to protect customers from COVID in early 2020. This despite warnings from one of the firm's own doctors. He'd raised concerns about an outbreak of flu-like symptoms on board a trip from San Francisco to Mexico. Carnival, for its part, hasn't commented on the case, though it maintains it has proper safety protocols in place. Either way, Thomas, you can add this to the list of the many PR problems facing the industry between COVID, growing backlash over carbon emissions. I think it's safe to say the cruise industry has probably seen better days.
Cole Stangler with the business news. Thank you very much.